Welcome, welcome. We are kicking off the July 2026 edition of Coach Camp. We've got a good group this morning, so we're just going to go around the room and share a quick hello and where everybody is connecting from because we've got a fun group. So, Erno, you're off mute. Do you want to go first?
Oh, of course. I am coach. I coach entrepreneurs, of course, on habits to get their things done, but more on the long term. And I'm connected from the Netherlands. Anna, you want to go next?
Yes, my name is Ana. I come from Spain, from Barcelona. Last year, I got certified as coactive coach, and I'm beginning now my business as coach and trying to find clients and well, in this journey.
Welcome. Very cool. Donita.
All right. Hey, I'm Donita Brown. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee, which is why I have the Southern accent. I've been a productivity coach since, oh gosh, maybe 2017, 2018. I mainly coach managers, and help them with productivity and leadership challenges.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm from England, and I've been a health coach for nearly 3 decades now. And now specialize because I've got older in people over 50 and busy professionals who struggle to find time to stay healthy and fit and strong.
And I am Scott Mater. I am a finance and productivity coach, work with all sorts of people all over the world. And I am in Bryan, Texas, which is in Central Texas.
All right. So I'm Kendra from Corpus Christi, Texas, the tiny tip south, and excited to have everybody. I think the accent gives it away quick, whether we want to or not. And I mostly coach when I coach founders and CEOs and folks that want some extra support in maintaining excellence in their businesses and also not losing a ton of ground in their relationships and health. And it's fun. I've kind of resumed coaching a little bit more actively, and it's been great. So, and also obviously coach coaches more than anybody. So great to have everybody here. Morning for us in the US, and I think middle of the afternoon for everybody else. So thank y'all for making time to be here. So we try to do the acronym of CAMP and share something in each category. So, craft of coaching and marketing and platform. I do want to share before I forget that our coach content feature is moving along. Our developer Pedro showed us a demo yesterday, and so we are very confident that is going to be ready for release tail end of June, beginning of July, and we'll roll it out slowly. But very excited for that. We sent some invites to a small group of our most tenured coaches to help us get the bugs out, and then that'll be available for all coaches probably a quarter, so beginning of the fourth quarter, I would think, for all coaches. I build a bridge between our habit tracker, the apps that are incredibly popular in the App Store, and coaching to let our app users know that we have lots of fabulous coaches at the ready to help them tackle their habits. So very excited about that as the platform update. I'm curious as we transition into, I think all of us are Northern Hemisphere in the summertime, in terms of the craft of coaching, do y'all notice any differences or major themes in the way you interact with your clients kind of as they move in, as the seasons change? Anybody got thoughts?
Yep. For me, through the health coaching, summer brings its own challenges because of people a lot more relaxed and wanting to have certain lifestyles that are conducive to warmer weather and sunnier weather. So a lot of people don't necessarily have the mindset to be on good behavior, so to speak. So it's a matter of trying to manage that 12 weeks of summer and try to get as many small wins as possible among all the temptations and the time away and when people go away for say summer holidays, there's a tendency just to go, right, I'm going to have a break from everything and just relax. And it's trying to limit the damage that comes from that. They always find come September, September to Christmas is always the busiest time, as in everyone's around, everyone's like focused, right? They just had a great summer. Now I want to get back on track. So from a business point of view, it's just, do what you can during the summer. When people are around, connect with them as much as possible. And when they're not, leave them alone, so to speak, and let them have some mental time out and then get back onto it as soon as they can.
But really working with your clients to try not to go backwards in terms of their health goals during the summer, even if they don't necessarily, I'm going to say the word improve, if they don't necessarily gain ground, but try not to lose ground.
Yeah, progress can be also not losing ground. It doesn't always have to be moving forward to be progress. Sometimes staying still can be quite successful, be seen as a success, because I see it like climbing a ladder. Every rung you come down, you've got to re-climb that rung. So if you can minimize how many rungs you come down the ladder, you don't have to cover the same ground, too much of the same ground again, and you can climb higher up the ladder. So trying to get them to stay on the same rung, at least on the same rung, till they can start climbing again.
Do you help them measure that in kind of a tangible way, or just a sort of conceptual way?
Depends on the client, really. I have some clients who love measurements, love the data and see things that change, and others are much more subjective in how they see progress. So some of the times with clients, it's just making them, if they feel like they are doing well, sometimes I don't even measure objective measurements, because how someone feels can be a lot more powerful than what numbers have to say. That's not to say we completely ignore the objective measurements, because sometimes what someone feels is not reality. But it's a case of where they are, and if they're having a really stressful time, having them measure certain numbers, that can be just another stress. And I've had cases in the past where people just said, "Oh, I just need a break right now. I'll come back to you." And because there's just too much going on, so it's trying to read the situation, which is hard, especially when it's online clients. And it's just messaging, for example. It's hard to sometimes gauge what someone's going through. And you could be putting too much onto them without knowing it. And then they just go, oh, too many things. Right, get rid of this, get rid of that, blah, blah, and just simplify things. And you go, oh, what happened there? I thought we were getting on quite well. And then suddenly a stop, like hard stop. So yeah, it's the art of juggling and knowing when's the right time to advise and recommend and push, or everyone's different.
Arno, do you see this trend in your folks?
Yes. Well, sorry.
Oh, Anna, go ahead, Anna.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I just want to share like the challenge that I face with my clients. That is more the commitment on the sessions. No, so you start and you have a lot of energy and they are willing to change some things. But for me, what I face is like the commitment for them to get these goals, or to let's say do what they get on from the session, so that on 2 weeks after they complete this exercise, no, or this commitment. So for me, commitment is a thing that I need to, well, that is a challenge that I face with clients. And also I think that on summer, maybe the positive side is that a lot of them, they think that they want to change some things, or there is their time to reflect. So maybe on September you got new things to work on. No? So it's a time of reflection. Also, it can be a time that disconnecting of disconnection, and maybe you don't know from them, but also it's an opportunity for them to reflect, no, and move on.
That's a great point. So your coaching rhythms are bi-weekly calls mostly?
Yeah, mostly yes. Yeah.
Are you using the chat feature in the app to kind of keep in touch?
Yeah, well, the thing is that but later of the session or with you, I want to also explore more options to get more clients, or how to improve my business, no, through the platform. So, but it can be separately with you to how to get more clients, or take more advantage of the platform.
I think you bring up a really great point, and I think this is one of the reasons the platform is designed the way it is, because you're absolutely right that this is I think a challenge across coaching. And so one of the reasons we're so I would say focused on habits is because if we work with a client to identify something they're going to do every day, 5 minutes a day, and then follow up, set up the goal, and have them check into the goal every day, it can help at least surface really early if there's a disconnect between the stated goal in a call or in a Zoom, and then when you try it and life, I think we've all had that. We set a goal, and then life, we run into the, um that fun collision with reality, and we're like, ooh, so at least surfacing that um early, as opposed to waiting another 2 weeks, to do that, can be helpful. Donita, I think this would be great. Do you want to share your research on kind of the hybrid approach, and why that's helpful in this situation?
Yeah, so I'm I guess during the school year, I'm a college professor. I teach during the summer just a little bit, but I did a study on the effectiveness of coaching and worked through like a 3-part model, which was using one-on-one coaching, text-based coaching through Coachdotme, and then group coaching to prove if it helped build better habits than just somebody saying, I'm going to build a habit. And so both groups, so I had a treatment group and a non-treatment group, both groups watched a video on how to set a great habit. And then one group got the coaching, all 3 types, one group didn't. And what we found was that, yes, coaching indeed did help. And we all that's probably a no duh thing for most of us here. Like, well, of course it did. But it was kind of neat that the science proved that it actually did work. I'm hoping to repeat the study this fall or maybe spring. But something else I was thinking, Kendra, I also do some research on resilience and kind of what you're talking about, Chris, when people just need a break. Sometimes I see that it's like maybe they need to build up some tenacity, like they just need to push through that hard part. And one of the 6 parts of a resilience model that I use is like having the tenacity just to keep going. Even when it's hard, you just keep going, because that helps build that muscle. And that's one of those habit muscles that we talk about building. Like, you just got to find your non-negotiables and do them every single day.
Can I build on that with the
Please,
tenacity?
please.
Do you think there's an element, like, I can usually tell quite early on with a client if they will go through those difficult times and be tenacious and stick to it and so forth, by the value they've placed on the goal. And
Mm.
I always keep coming back to this value conflict. You know, I find with clients who have placed a greater value on a goal, they are more tenacious at getting it done than people like, yeah, I would like to say lose weight and things like that. That would be really good. But as soon as they kind of realize that what it will take and the challenges and the discomfort that comes from it, they kind of go, well, maybe it's not as important as thought it was. When I find out from someone who's really got an emotional attachment to the goal, you can get a sense that this really means something to them. They are more tenacious at going for it. And that's not to say you can't teach resilience and make people stronger in that sense. But I think when you've got such a strong value placed on something, it's easier to become that resilient and that ability to get through those tough times when it really sucks.
Yeah, I think so. I think, and as you're talking, I was thinking, man, that's really good. That'd be a good thing for me to put in this next study is like, how important is this goal to you? Is it, you know, yeah, is it on a scale of 1 to 5? Is
It's
it
the
1?
difference between a goal and a why. What I call a why, the reason behind it, the value behind it. So many people get focused on completing the goal. Well, goals have a beginning, a middle, and an end. They're finite, but the why or the value behind it may go further than the goal. In other words, brushing my teeth, who really cares? But then if I connect it to other things, like even just like social acceptance, I don't have bad breath. I mean, that actually has a deeper meaning than just brushing my teeth. And it can be it can help you realize it's more than just, did I do the goal today? Did I check off the box? Did I it also, I think, also helps them not only follow through more, but actually do it better, for lack of a better word. In other words, like with exercise or financial stuff, you can kind of check the box, but not really do it. You know what I mean? It's like, I did it, but I didn't really do it, kind of thing. Like I go for a walk. Well, there's a difference between actually going for a walk, with some intensity and purpose behind it, and strolling around your living room for 30 seconds and say, yep, I went for a walk. So I think there's a connection, not just with follow through, but even with how they approach the goal in terms of their intensity to it too.
Coming back to the why, Scott, I'm not a big fan of referrals, mainly because, especially in the health field, I've had cases in the past when I've said to people, simple question, why are you here, or how can I help? And if I get an answer of, oh, my doctor said I should come and see you, or my wife said I should come and see you, it's a very basic study. I can't back it up with any, hard data, but they're the people who don't end up being tenacious and resilient, because as soon as they hit the first difficult part, they kind of like, well, I didn't really want to do this anyway. It's just because my wife said I should do it, or my doctor said I should do it, and things like that. It's when someone comes to me and they say, I'm doing this because there's an emotional attachment to it. They're the people who usually stick around the longest. As soon as I get someone who says, oh, so-and-so said I should come and see you, I go, right, okay. My approach to you is going to be very different than someone who's kind of, told me their whole emotional reason for change.
And to Anna's point on follow through with things like calls and attending meetings and following through, some of this stuff, by the way, speaking it out loud to your client is helpful. Getting them to articulate and realize it's not just about, quote, the goal. There's a deeper reason for them to do it, and measuring that and asking those questions as a coach can then help them follow through it for two reasons. One, it helps them elevate it. But two, it also gives you now the tool that in chats and in between you can reference back to, remember, push through, you're doing this for, whatever they've articulated, and you can kind of elevate that in their mind and help them build that muscle of resilience and tenacity and follow through. So it's a feedback loop. It's a positive feedback loop if you can get them to articulate it early, which can be challenging, but it's worth trying.
And what I noticed, and also I think it's one of our goals as a coach, is to bring awareness to them. No, so most of them, they are not aware of which are their values, and their values, which first, which values for them are important, because each of us has a different scale of values. For me, for example, integrity is a big value in my job, and for the other is another value. So once they know their values, and until which extent this is important for you, these kind of questions, then they are willing to act and act as coherence, no, with coherence. If they are not aware of these values or this, they don't have the power, no. So I think that also is related with this, no, to bring awareness, basically.
Great points. And I think, Donita, doing a second study and introducing some of these elements to see if you can parse the results among some additional criteria would be really cool to see if it manifests in the data too.
And like all psychological stuff, the answer is yes. It's all of, it's a big messy ball of wire. It's not that's why psychological studies are so difficult, because it's not clean.
Oh, no.
All right, so let's do another topic. So we try to do a few different things. We covered C, the craft of coaching. I think that's a excellent conversation of use all the different methodologies and dig deep. Sort of like Scott says, all of the above, but I think it's a good reminder for coaches to hear that. Let's also talk about coaches and managing ourselves during the summertime. So I'm curious, lots of experience here. If you guys had a new coach that came to you and said, I really want to grow my coaching business, but it's also the summer, which, I get this question from coaches, should I take off the weekend, right? Well, it depends. What are your goals and that kind of thing. But I'm curious how each of you think about summertime now in your practice, your coaching practice, or holiday time, if that's better. And then has that changed from when you were first starting your coaching business? If anybody wants to take a stab at that.
Well, Kendra, I can tell you when I first started, like, I would do anything. I would coach weekends, nights. I mean, all the things. And I think that was because I didn't set good, like this is what you get out of a coaching engagement in the beginning. I didn't set clear expectations, and I'm much better about it now. And what I have found is that my clients appreciate that. They know you're going to get messages Monday through Friday. I might check in with you on the weekend if you're a new client. Like if I get a client, like I got one today. So I told her, I was like, I'll check in with you this weekend. Just want to make sure that we're good every day for 7 days. And then we'll get into a rhythm where we'll check in usually Monday through Friday. And I think it's just knowing your own self, because you don't want to overpromise and then not deliver. You don't want to get busy because your own life is maybe different on the weekends and not do that. So I think it's just being clear on what you are going to deliver. And I think that's different for each one of us.
For me, I think from the beginning, I've the same idea about this. No evenings. I do my own thing, like sports, stuff like in the evening, and also no weekends. At one point, I had a client who really, really wanted to do a session in the weekend, and I said yes to it. But every time I felt really a stone in my stomach on the Sunday to do the call, and in the end, he didn't push through. So it was like 2, 3 weeks, and I had to just trying to get him on the call because he just wasn't there and was partying. So it didn't work for him either. But in this case, it was someone from Israel, so their Sunday is a working day, so it's different for them. Yeah, and in the holidays, I think now with having clients like also in Australia, for example, it's so different, right? And I have clients in the Netherlands who take the holiday out in June, and then they restart in July. And I'll just try to find ways to take the calls in our regular rhythm. And when I can't, because I'm away the week, I will just let them know and not do a call in that week and just move it to the next week or something like that. But I don't really take off like a vacation break or anything like that, except when I'm going away with my wife. But then I just let the clients know and just shift the dates and get through that. So I try to not take a call when I'm away, but sometimes it's necessary. Yeah.
So you keep, let me repeat back what I think I'm hearing. You're very thoughtful about keeping a sustainable pace kind of all the time. If you like really strong bookends on your time all the time, and then you take the occasional like full vacation, but you don't really make too many compromises at any part of the year in your schedule.
No.
Okay. I like interesting. Thank you, Sharon. I think that's a great approach. I knew a little bit of that, but it's nice to really get a good description.
So for me, I've convinced all my clients to only book holiday when I'm on holiday. So I send out my holiday times and everyone books at the same time.
Do they book
Oh,
in the
that would
same places too? Or?
no,
Oh,
just the
okay.
same time. They can't go on holiday outside of that time. Now, wouldn't that be nice? But it doesn't happen. So it's a case of, I have some clients that they go, I'm going on holiday for these 2 weeks. And I go, well, that's just 2 weeks, the 2 weeks leading up to when I go away for 2 weeks. And now it's going to be a month. So it can get quite messy. So what I've learned to do is through the messaging side of coaching, I can message people when I'm on holiday. I have no problem with that. I like what I do. I don't necessarily see it as my job. I just enjoy doing it. I just let people know that I'm going to be away, and therefore I'm not quite sure what the Wi-Fi or the connection is going to be like. So if I go quiet for a day or two, it's because I'm out of signal or whatever it is, and just give them heads up on that. But I don't mind on holiday just dropping messages and just keeping in touch and communicating. No calls during that period of time. But long as the communication is still going back and forth, it's not like 2 weeks of complete silence and you get back and someone's changed direction now and go, oh, I've changed my mind. I don't, So I've got comfortable doing that. And especially now, 30 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to do it. It would be by emails. Now it's just, quick WhatsApp messages or anything like that. So as long as you get people understand where you are and, I'm traveling, I'm on a plane for the next 2 days or whatever it is, as long as you give them a heads up on that. But my dream is I had this moment, was it 2018, 2017? I was in Mauritius and I had my laptop with me and I was doing coaching for 2 hours every day, just messaging and blah, blah. And there was one day where I messaged did 2 hours in the morning. No, yeah, no. Went scuba diving in the morning, did a couple of dives during the day, got back to the hotel room, did 2 hours of coaching, went to dinner, got back to the room, had me and Erica watched something on TV and then went to bed. And I put my head on my pillow and went, that's a perfect day. How do I replicate that day where I can still work, still help my clients, but it doesn't matter where I am in the world, I can go scuba diving, whatever it is, and I love the coaching freedom of that. As long as my clients are still getting help and advice and support, it doesn't really matter where I am or what I'm doing outside of that. my clients don't really care either. They didn't know I was a Mauritius and I had just gone scuba diving. They just went, oh, thanks for the, the update, or thanks for the advice and stuff like that. And in today's world with all the technology we have, it's so simple, I think, to do what that level of coaching. Just for that period, that 1 week or 2 weeks that you're away, you can still stay on top of it.
Awesome. All right, Scott, I'm going to cut you off because I want to flip to another topic, and I think I'd like you to take the lead on this next topic. So talking about marketing, and Anna and I have been messaging a little bit. If we're talking about new coaches or folks new to building the online side of coaching, right? Let's say somebody's an experienced coach in the in real life world, or even the face to face, Skype, giving away our age here, or Zoom world, but really wants to build, kind of to Chris's point, the freedom to design, an ideal day a lot of the time, which coaching does allow. Somebody's a new coach. Again, let's confine it to this summer. So let's say June, July, August. For those 3 months, I'd like each of you guys to think about what would your single most important recommendation be to a new coach this summer, not just any summer, but given what we all know right now of what's going on in the world, if they really want to make strides in improving their coaching business this summer. All right, so over to you, Scott.
So the first thing is to get really clear on who you're trying to reach. The clearer you are on your ideal client, your avatar, whatever you want to call it, the better. So who is it that you're trying to reach? Not just their demographics, not just their age, their sex, their shoe size, their blood type, the facts and figures, but also getting back to the value statement, why are they trying to do this? Why is productivity important to them? Why is health important to them? Why is, what are they looking to achieve? That, I think, is vital, because otherwise you're just kind of using a shotgun and throwing a whole bunch of stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. Now, if you're, again, I'm assuming this is an experienced coach, so they have some knowledge of who they like to serve. If you're really brand new, little different, but this is somebody who knows something about who they like to serve already. So get clear on that, and then think visibility. Where are those people? Are they hanging out in Facebook groups? Are they on Instagram? Are they listening to particular podcasts? Are they going to particular meetups? Are they attending particular events? Are they whatever? Where are they hanging out? And then begin to think, how can I get visible in front of those audiences? So, for example, I use podcasts a lot. Why? Well, because it's also kind of easy to do that from anywhere in the world. So it aligns with my business. It's easy for me to do that from, as long as I've got a decent mic and a decent internet connection, I'm good. So that's an example of, I find podcasts that the kind of people that I try to serve, that they'll listen to that kind of podcast. And then I go on there as a guest, and I am presented as an expert. And occasionally I get some followers, or I get some clients, or I get whatever, from those. So that would be an example of identifying my avatar, and then identifying places where they are that also aligns with what I want to do and what I'm good at. So looking at my skills, looking at where my avatar is, and then trying to kind of appear in front of them and be presented with some level of credibility. So now I'm visible and I'm credible. And over time, with consistency, that leads to prospects and clients. So this summer, identify 7, 8, 10 places where those avatars hang out, and figure out a way to get in front of as many of them as you can. And honestly, I would say that's true, by the way, 24/7, 365 days a year. It doesn't really change.
All right, Erno or Chris, anything you'd add to that?
If it's just for these 3 months, especially in my field of health coaching, if you're a new coach coming into it, hang in there, because you're not necessarily going to get a lot of business in these 3 months. From my experience, I don't pick up really new clients between now and September. If I do, it's great, no problem. But it is a good time to as Scott said, get out there and get yourself known and people knowing you're there. So come September, they go, oh, okay. Chris has been in my kind of focus in my kind of sphere of information and influence. Now I'm ready to, kick on my health. I'll reach out to him. So just because you're not getting clients, don't go quiet, and don't get too disappointed or disheartened if you're not picking up clients. It's just a really hard time. And for people in the Southern Hemisphere, I think it's even harder because imagine in our summer, we had Christmas and New Year's in the middle of it.
Mm.
What a disruptor that would be. Be even harder. How are you going to convince people? Imagine convincing people in what now to stick to a diet, exercise that, and it's Christmas in 3 weeks.
Right.
It's just it's not, it's really hard. So I feel for people in the Southern Hemisphere because the timing's just bad for the health industry anyway. So yeah, just hang in there for 3 months. Don't go on holiday. If you're starting out as a business, just don't go on holiday because that's time you're not trying to build your business and find clients. You've just got to say this summer, I'm going to be full on it in my business and trying to build it and things like that, and not think having time off. That comes later in the year. That's what I'd say.
Great. When I started specifically in coaching, I had a tip, and I'm still using it. And that was in the summer, to be clear. So it was midsummer, so it was July, August, September, kind of like was it June, July, August, I think it was. So he told me create a list from all the people that you know, like 200 names, and look at every network that you know, that everybody that you know from school before, that you work with, that you family, friends, write them all down, write the phone number down, and then create a list that you want to call. So block like 3-4 days in a week because it's holiday. It's not very busy anywhere. And it sounds kind of like counterintuitive because everybody's on holiday, but half of the people are not on holiday, especially in the Netherlands. It's very spread out. So when you make calls, you may not reach people because they're away, but you reach a lot of people as well. And they have kind of like a downtime too in their job. So they probably agree with a short meeting. So if I call them, I make a call for like 2 minutes saying, hi, that's great that we talk again. And then can we meet and let me know what's going on. We talk through the things of what's happening in our lives at the moment, just in half an hour, and then I will just group meetings because I did them not virtual, I did them live, visited these people. The Netherlands is not a large country, so that helps, of course. And I just grouped people, kind of like cities who were close to each other, and then I just did like 3 visits a day and just had meetings in those days. And then from that, the first clients came because either they had something that they wanted to work on, or they knew someone that I could call. And the thing was, what I asked I just asked all those questions. So I just was very silent for almost like 50 minutes and just asked questions, and learning what they were doing, what's going on in the world, what they're struggling with. And then the last 5 minutes I used to tell what I'm working on now, what I'm doing as a coach, and do they know someone who could use this service? And that was what I did. And then, I went visiting like 99 people, or was it 98? And I had my first clients. It was 3 months. You can do it any 3 months, but the summer is really a good time, to be honest, because it's downtime and people are pretty open for a visit and a coffee.
Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. This was great. Anna, thank you for the prompt and the question, because I think that was and these were 3 great resources in our community. And I just want to shout you guys out at how generous you are at showing up. These 3 guys are you'll see them in a lot of coach camp, and Donita too. We have a lot of a core group that's super generous. And I think you'll find that in the Coachdotme community of the tenured coaches. are just really gracious and beautiful at sharing your knowledge. And I took away some to-dos this summer from y'all. So thank you again for being here and for being generous and for giving back to our profession and helping make sure new folks have some ideas.
Are you saying I'm not going to get paid for this?
You know, I've never been to, you know this, I've never been to Europe. You're going to be my first stop, and I'll get your lunch.
Yeah,
And
that sounds good.
we could
Yeah.
go for a run. And
It was-
Netherlands are still on my list, Erno. And Barcelona, I was this close to going to a conference this year. My college basketball team, or the college that I went to, the basketball team in recent years, we had several players, six or eight from Spain, several of them from Barcelona, and most of them have graduated and are moving back. And I've got to go to say hi. So I will absolutely make it to all of those places. Oh, probably next year, if I'm being honest, but it's on the list. So, well, thank y'all for being here today, for sharing, for letting us catch some great insights for Anna and for other coaches that really ready to kick it up these next few months. So, thank y'all again.
As earners
you.
playing with plumber's tape.
It's not it's not plumber's tape. It's I don't know.
It's metal. Yeah, we call that
Yeah.
plumber's tape in the States.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Because
Cool.
you use it to mount a pipe to
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. So it's called plumber's tape in the States.
Okay,
That's a
cool.
nickname
Thank
for
you.
it in construction. So
Okay.
All
I don't know.
right.
I don't
you.
know what y'all call it, but we call it plumber's tape.
Well, so I'm going to give everybody, once we get this video processed, we're going to reinvigorate our LinkedIn group. And so I invite each of y'all to let's keep the conversation going throughout the month in the LinkedIn group. So I'll give everybody a heads up when we get this posted, and we can kind of keep this discussion going there in our coaches community.
Cool. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, y'all.
Cheers, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.